No one expected this from head coach Kris Knoblauch heading into the split squad game against the Calgary Flames tonight when it comes to some very curious lineup decisions, one including Leon Draisaitl. We'll get into all that, all the news, all the rumors, all the breakdowns here on Oilers Digest. But first, we are 52 subscribers away from 2,000, from the millennium mark. Make sure to join the ride here on Oilers Digest as we get ready to cover the rest of preseason and eventually into the start of the regular season beginning on October 9th. Before you know it, it will be here. And what's also here is some Oilers front office moves here, crunching the numbers. Yes, the Oilers announced on Saturday they have promoted Warren Reichel to pro scouting director and added former Oiler forward and fan favorite Zach Kassian to the pro scouting staff. Aaron Nagy was appointed amateur scout. Erica Lanes was hired as video and analytics coaching coordinator. Dominic Zreem joined the organization as director of hockey strategy, and David Ivanachko was hired as lead solutions architect. Nagy was previously president of the Ontario Junior Hockey League's Georgetown Raiders and a player agent with Newport Sports. Erica Lanes came from the Seattle Kraken's AHL affiliate after 2 seasons as video coach for the Coachella Valley Firebirds. Zreem previously worked for the Chicago Blackhawks and San Jose Sharks, and for all you hockey stats number crunchers, he was the co-founder of everyone's favorite site, Cap Friendly, that eventually was bought by the Washington Capitals, who decided they hated fun and wanted the technology for themselves, and Zreem joins the Oilers. And Ivanachko was formerly vice president of software development at Connexus Credit Union in Regina. Everybody probably laughs at the last part there, but Eric Tulsky, the GM of the Carolina Hurricanes, pretty much came from the same background there, software development at a company, and eventually he became general manager, probably one of the best general managers when it comes to managing the cap to their advantage with the Carolina Hurricanes. Once again, shows an eagerness from CEO Jeff Jackson to build out a robust staff that is experienced in working with analytics, because, of course, in the past, the Oilers, not a very analytics-based team, with their dinosaur organizational front offices in the past, GMs like, Peter Chiarelli, Ken Holland, Steve Tambellini, Craig McTavish, to say the least, not exactly, having a forefront for having analytics in the organization, and Jeff Jackson says otherwise. Considering how close to the cap ceiling the Oilers are, Dominic Zreem should help the team strategize how to use their space more effectively. In a similar analytics-powered move, of course, the Oilers have hired David Ivanachko as a lead solutions architect. He will join the team's ever-expanding data and analytics group, which will help inform the Oilers front office on hockey ops matters. And lastly here, Eric Lanes was formally introduced as the team's new video and analytics coaching coordinator. So some promising news here from Jeff Jackson when it comes to, building the ideal dream team when it comes to the front office and, really, using analytics to their advantage. I mean, the other organizations in the NHL have. So it's time for the Oilers to join us, the rest of us in 2024, and sort of get behind the number system. Of course, lots are still relying on the eye test when it comes to, evaluating player skill. But sometimes analytics can help you in your favor. And lastly here, Splitsville, Alberta. Yes, tonight is the split squad game between the Edmonton Oilers and the Calgary Flames, to go back to a classic Jay and Dan bit. Yes, it is Edmonton in Calgary, in Edmonton in Calgary. But we also have Calgary and Edmonton in Calgary. So lastly here, just to recap, Calgary, Edmonton in Calgary, while we have Edmonton, Calgary in Edmonton. You got that? 2 games at the same time, 7 o'clock Mountain. And we are getting ready to get into that one. Of course, the Oilers coming off a 3-2 overtime win against the Winnipeg Jets last night, with Cam Dineen scoring the overtime winner, assisted by Vasily Podkolzin there. But let's get right into it. Each of Monday's lineups is expected to feature a blend of veterans looking to get up to game speed, professional tryouts aiming to win a contract, and younger prospects attempting to leave a strong impression at camp and further adjust to the NHL pace, of course. Split squad, you need a lot of guys there, and we'll get into that in just a second. And Kris Knoblauch talking about those guys. They're always making an impression. They're always trying to make an impression on whether it's the head coach, the general manager, or even the scouts. We're always talking about what's best for a team, or who's best for a team, rather, what he can do, their next contract, bring them back to our organization, or for a call-up, or hopefully to make this team this year. You're always trying to play your best, and maybe some of those guys might think that they don't have that opportunity, and they end up surprising. 14 prospect players who did play last night are playing again tonight, but 11 of them are headed to Calgary, with just 3 of them, Noah Phillip, Raphael Lavoie, and Vasily Podkolzin, remaining in Edmonton, where Kris Knoblauch is coaching the game tonight. Knoblauch also adding on, we do have some ideas on, he's asked about, how they're exactly going to split up the lineups, and he says we do have some ideas. I'm not going to throw out why we're splitting the teams up the way that we are. Eventually not really one to reveal his cards. I mean, duh. It's not exactly a no-brainer move here from Knoblauch. But he says, I think we're going to have 2 competitive teams. Hopefully they do play well. And we'll get into those lineups right here. Here's the proper lineup for the Oilers home game. It's not exactly set in stone, but this is what is more than likely going to happen here. Of course, the top line is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Connor McDavid, and Zach Hyman. On that second line there, the one that really surprises me, instead of, having Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson on Draisaitl's line, Kris Knoblauch elects to put Vasily Podkolzin and Raphael Lavoie on his wings, which I'm very excited to potentially see what, Podkolzin and Lavoie can do with someone elite down the middle. And on that third line there, you have Petra, Noah Phillip, Corey Perry, and then lastly here on the fourth line, Connor Clattenburg, Wakely, and Stonehouse. And then rounding out the defensive core here, you got Mattias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard, the bona fide number 1 pair for the Edmonton Oilers this year. Noah Hoffenmeyer and Philip Kemp there on that second pair, and Corcoran and Kenok Leipert on that third pairing. And then Calvin Pickard starting tonight, and Doug Broku on the back end. Meanwhile, in Calgary, this is the road game roster, and you can notice there in the brackets, the second to fourth lines and the deep pairings, not a lock, but these players are indeed playing, so do not take this as a set-in-stone lineup, but these are the players that will be playing. Jeff Skinner, Adam Henrique, Victor Arvidsson on the first line, Matthew Savoy, Sam O'Reilly, Drake Jula on that second line. Of course, I'd like to see what more Savoy and O'Reilly can do together exactly, because, of course, Savoy, a bit of a finisher, and Sam O'Reilly, as you saw from that goal last night, a bit of a Swiss Army knife for the Edmonton Oilers, and he's only 18 years old, folks. And then the third line with Mike Hoffman, Lane Peterson, and Derek Ryan, and then on the fourth line, James Stephon, Jaden Gruby, and Jasper Weatherby, and then more of a younger defensive core here heading to Calgary tonight with Travis Dermott, Josh Brown, Cam Dineen, Troy Stetcher, Ben Gleason, and Max Warner. And then you got Olivier Rodrigue between the pipes and Nathaniel Day backing him up. So 2 very well-rounded teams here, not just on the veteran side, but also when it comes to, showing the younger players, seeing what they can do exactly in big minutes. Of course, I'm not exactly thrilled about Josh Brown on the first pairing, but folks, it's the second game of preseason. If you're getting mad this early, then what are you doing here? But yeah, when it comes to the Oilers, of course, there were some names I did not mention, but the group of Oilers skaters who did not participate, or who will not participate in either game tonight, were on the ice for morning skate at Rogers Place, while the 2 rosters who will be playing in tonight's contest didn't take part. The list includes veteran goaltender Stuart Skinner, Darnell Nurse, Brett Kulak, and Ty Emberson, and forwards Connor Brown and Matisse Janmark. So sort of, letting them rest out for tonight before the bulk of the preseason gets underway after tonight. And lastly here from Kris Knoblauch, when it comes to, the guys, on the edge, not just with the Oilers, but in the Condors themselves, he says maybe there isn't much opportunity to make that team in October, but depending on the player, maybe it's a call-up in November, maybe it's a call-up in February, or maybe it's getting signed when it comes to a potential PTO with Travis Dermott, Jasper Weatherby, or Mike Hoffman. I think it's important all those players are playing their best, and I mean, when it comes to Kris Knoblauch, very level-headed, very calm, and that's exactly what you need in a head coach heading into, a very tough time of training camp. Of course, cutting the roster isn't exactly the easiest part of the job, but it's a job that has to be done nonetheless. That's it for today's episode. We are getting all set for the split squad game tonight. Let me know who you're excited to see tonight when it comes to the Oilers, and are there any changes you yourself would make? Let me know down in the comments. Enjoy tonight's games, everybody. Have yourself a fantastic evening and a great day.